Welcome to this week's Chinuch Hashkofa message. This week, of course, is Parshas Dvarim Shabbos Chazoin Erev Tisha B'Av. And I thought I would just focus on a discussion this week that we can have with our children that I think is important, but it's a detailed and it's a discussion which is complex and has lots of different components. But nevertheless, let's just start and highlight maybe some brief points, and each parent can extend it the way they want to do it. You know, every child learns in kindergarten or very early on in school the story of Kamsa and Bar Kamsa. Everyone is taught that the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed because of sinas chinam, baseless hatred, and therefore the way to bring back Mashiach and to build the Beis Hamikdash is through ahavas chinam. But it's really important with children at different ages to actually have the conversation with them. What does that actually mean? What does avas chinam mean? What does sinas chinam mean? Every time a child gets upset with someone else, they're going to have a reason. If they get on with their siblings or they get on with other children, they're also going to have a reason. They like them, it's fun to play with them, and so on and so forth. So, of course, on a very practical level, on a very simple and basic level to start off with, even with very young children, it's about emphasizing that Avas Chinam isn't only about the whole world and about Klal Yisrael in general. Avas Chinam is to their younger sister, to their older brother, even when they don't like them, even when they have reason to be upset with them. But it's about talking nicely to them, about not being nasty back, not taking the common, not being jealous, about giving up things sometimes for other people to partake in playing with certain games or toys, whatever the case is. I'm talking about having the conversation where to make it avas chinam, to make it practical, to give practical examples. And to emphasize that the word avas chinam means that even if you think you have a reason, this is the point, even you think you have a reason to be upset with them, maybe you do. So there's a way to deal with it. You know, part of this is, I think, something I share with a lot of people, that we have to teach people, teach ourselves, but also teach our children, more importantly, not how to get on with one another, but how to disagree with each other, or how to fight with each other even. What I mean by that is, people have disagreements, kids for sure have disagreements. Kids have very strong disagreements with each other. Kids get upset with one another. They get insulted or offended by one another. It's unfair. They get treated unjustly or justly, whatever the case is. But maybe it's about teaching them avas chinam means, yes, you could still disagree, and maybe you can come and talk to your parents about it, but the being nasty, embarrassing other people, excluding other people from playing games, making it very practical. What does avas chinam actually mean? But I want to take it just a step further, because as kids start to get a bit older, we often face with a bit of a stira, contradiction, maybe with some of their friends in their classes. On the one hand, we want our children to be able to get on with everyone, accept everyone, not to judge everyone. On the other hand, there are things that we don't agree with. There are friends in their classes, perhaps, that we tell them that what they do in their house is not what we do in our house. That perhaps their values are not our values. Their things that they agree with or they do is not what we do. And it's very important for us to be able to strike that balance, because avas chinam doesn't mean agreeing with everyone. Avas chinam doesn't mean that we tell our kids that whatever everyone else does is okay. No. Avas chinam means we have our hashkafa. We have our ways of looking at things. We have our ways of doing things. But that doesn't mean that we're better than other people. It doesn't mean that we have to look down at other people. It doesn't mean that to feel strong within ourselves, we have to put down others. There's a beautiful idea I once heard about Kamsa and Bar Kamsa. Kamsa and Bar Kamsa, the word Kamsa is an interesting word. And we find a very similar word in Targum, in Parshas Shlach, where the Meraglim come back and they talk about how they felt so small. They felt like grasshoppers in the face of the giants. They use Vayihi be'einenu kachagovim. And the Targum translates chagovim as kamtzin, small little creatures. Kamtzin, same word, kamtza bar kamtza. And maybe this is the idea, that we don't have to put down other people to feel strong within ourselves. We can know who we are, and we should know who we are, especially when it comes to the concepts of Hashkafa and Yiras Shamayim and Frumkeit and so on and so forth. But that doesn't mean that we have to look down at other people. Maybe we have to judge them properly. Maybe they don't know. Maybe this is the way they do things, but it's not what we do. We have to be strong and proud of what we do. We have to be able to strike that balance, because it is not good to educate children that they can look down at other people. Because the result of that is that groups of people don't get on, and groups of people fight with each other and put other people down and undermine other people. That's not good. That's not avas chinam. So therefore, from a very young age, we have to be able to talk about this. What does it mean? And translate it. And don't be afraid of the conversation. That yes, there are people that we don't agree with, but that's okay. It doesn't mean we have to judge them. It doesn't mean we have to put them down. And maybe just to take it a step further, one of the stories of Kamsa Bar Kamsa that I think is such a practical thing to bring out with children is the concept of not being a bystander. One of the concepts of the story is that he went away and he said that because the people at the party kept quiet, they didn't stand up to the host of embarrassing Bar Kamsa. It means they agree. And how often does this happen in school, where a child can be left out in a class, a child can be bullied, and it's really only one bully or only one perpetrator that's doing that, but yet the other children stand by because they're too scared to stand up. We have to talk to our children what it would mean to stand up in a strong way, in a good way, maybe to go to a teacher, to discuss it with a teacher. All of these things we have to translate and make the avas chinam practical. And of course, we have to make sure and reflect and sit down and think, are we modeling that? Do we criticize people at the Shabbos table unnecessarily by undermining them? Or do we talk constructively? And even if we have to sit down with our children and say and explain our ashkafa and say our standard of Yirah Shamayim, and we don't agree with some of the things that go around us, but not to put other people down, not to be mevayish other people, not to undermine, not to say negative things about them. So all of that is just about maybe taking the conversation of Kamsa Bar Kamsa and Avas Chinam and Sinas Chinam and making it practical around this time of the year. And being mechazik the emunah, that if we strengthen even a little bit in the way we treat other people, be it a younger brother or sister, be it a friend in class, be it just people around us, that we can bring Mashiach closer and be zoicha to the binyan Beis HaMikdash. Have a wonderful day and a good Shabbos, and Yehovchi Yomim Elu l'sosein u'lesimcha.